Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another session on soft skills and interpersonal communication skills with me, Waheeda, Assistant Professor at the Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal, Hyderabad. In today's session, we are going to talk about the barriers in communication. In earlier videos, we have spoken about what communication is and all the LSRW skills that we have to deal with whenever we are communicating with anyone else. Like, as I already told you, that if you are a good listener, you will become a good speaker. And if you are a good reader, an avid reader, then you become a good writer. So, if the barriers do not occur in communication, then communication will be very effective. So, what is communication and what are the barriers that we must recognize and how to get over those barriers that we are going to discuss in today's session? So, communication, as we all know, it is the activity of conveying meaningful information, that is extending or sharing our information, our emotions, our feelings, our knowledge to the other people. And for that, we require the process of communication goes in this way, that there should be a sender, there should be a message after all for the communication to happen. The sender initiates the conversation, and the receiver receives it as a message through a medium. Maybe it is any kind of medium, whether it is a spoken word or a graphic or a picture or any form, video or audio. If any type of obstacle occurs in this process where we are sharing the information through the in the process of the channel wherein we are sharing our information, if any obstacle that occurs or that prevents us from completing our that certain task is called as a barrier. And when in communication, barriers can be defined as the aspects or the conditions that interfere with the effective exchange of ideas or thoughts. Every obstacle that stands between the sender and the receiver is called as a barrier. These aspects or conditions that if interfere with the effective exchange of ideas or thoughts, as I told you before. Now, there are many types of communication barriers. We are going to speak a few, around a dozen of them, 12 barriers of communication: physiological barrier, cultural, language, emotional, gender, perceptual, and physical barrier, attitudinal, sometimes wrong assumptions, lack of training as to how to listen or how to speak, or bad listening habits, and also fear of hostile audience, or maybe fear of any object that is preventing us from object or person that is preventing us from communicating. So the first one that we will discuss about is the physiological barrier. It could be the late processing speed according to the IQ level or the understanding ability of any person. Some people may have some mental issues where they are unable to process the information in the speed as it should be, uh, because different people have different IQ levels and the speed of understanding differs from each person, from person to person. So, some people's process of thinking or the speed of thinking might be faster than the speech, uh, and also it speed up also it disrupts the effective communication process. So it could be because of many reasons, due to age or people with full or mild disabilities that make poor listeners, or maybe they lost their hearing ability or seeing ability because of because of any accident or any mishap that might have happened in their life. Okay, so how to overcome that? By using hearing aids or playing games to process information faster, or the techniques to improve memory, synchronizing the speed with the information pace. Some people do not have the ability to take in the information. Maybe the information is coming at a very faster pace and they do not have the ability. And if the person is having the knowledge of full speed receiving, then if the information is coming at a slower pace, also it is a barrier, because in that free time, or the time that the information is coming at a slower pace, the person tends to shift from the concentration and goes to just decide as to what is he or she is going to have for lunch, or maybe what is that they are going to do this after the listening is over. This kind of shift happens when listening, if it is there. And barriers that are formed from the base of cultures and biases is the cultural barrier that we are going to discuss. As the picture suggests, you can see there are people around from different parts of the world and coming from different cultures and traditions that they follow. So there are two types of cultural barriers actually: interpersonal, in between two different cultures, and then also intrapersonal, that is amidst one culture itself, but with different values and morals. Like uh, people are brought up with different morals, different ideas, different upbringing, because of their different cultures, of course, and also different values and morals every person has, and they have mapped out for themselves. There are more classifications of cultural values than we have even Oriental culture and Western culture. We can regard this listening as silence, almost as a virtue. But in some Western cultures, speaking is of greater importance. Then there are different kinds of cultural barriers: diversified cultural background, language and accent also plays a significant role. Then behavior and culture, religion, biases and prejudices. Like in the same language, there are if a person is speaking one particular language, in that also there are different accents and different dialects, that the way that they speak, the pitch is different, the vocabulary that they use in that same language is different for different objects and situations. And people coming from one sort of culture behave in a different manner, and their nature also depends on the from the place or the culture or tradition that they are coming from. Religion plays a very significant role in the cultural aspect, wherein they are some set rules from the person to the person to which the religion they are following. Prejudice and biases that they also follow makes a significant barrier in the communication. These cultures provide people different ways of thinking, ways of seeing things, hearing and interpreting the world around them. Like similar words can mean different things to people from different cultures, even when they talk the same language, as I told you. Then how to overcome? Then we need to mix up in cross culture environment. We have to move in and have a thorough knowledge of your counterpart's cultural background. That is very important. If you want to know what are the pet peeves, what kind of likes and dislikes, or what kind of cultural biases that they are having, and conduct effective communication workshop. If you can conduct and if you can do that, it is well and good. Otherwise, you can even um, attend such communication workshops so that you get over the cultural barrier. And also, you need to work in groups and arrange frequent meetings with people from different cultures to know their culture, and also follow and accept or take in the good things from each culture. Okay, then language barriers, the inability to converse in a language that is common to both the sender and the receiver, is known as a language barrier. When a person uses inappropriate words while conversing, it could lead to misunderstandings. Sometimes it happens that the people are not able to communicate, or if they use non-verbal communication, they might end up misunderstanding each other's words, sometimes because the same words mean different things in different languages. And uh, the same language also, if the person knows, then it will be able that person will be able to communicate well with each other. Then a person need to be multilingual. It is good if they have knowledge of more than one language. And region difference also, certain words, as I told you, certain vocabulary differs from region to region. If a person doesn't have the adequate vocabulary that is required to converse or share their feelings, knowledge, and interpretation of certain concepts and ideas, then it could be because of the inadequate vocabulary. So people must try to develop their vocabulary on a daily basis by adding at least two new words in their conversation as well as in written scripts. There might be misinterpretation of the words, vocabulary, language that the barrier man. So how to get over this? How to get over the speak slowly and clearly so that the people are able to understand you clearly. Avoid fake accents. Usually this is the worst thing that can ever happen to a speaker. People try to fake accents, try to imitate other people who are speaking well, but what really happens is mm, they tend to copy, and gradually in the due course of their presentations and due course of their conversation, they gradually shift to their own natural accent. So the fake accent that they had started with would prove detrimental to their reputation. So it is better to avoid fake accents when we are talking. We need to speak slowly and clearly. That is that will enable a person to understand, even if they do not know that language very well. If we are speaking slowly and clearly, then they might try to comprehend your words, and they might try to understand you. Ask for clarification before assuming. Assumptions, we are going to talk about it in detail, but assuming that it must be meaning that could also again prove detrimental to the understanding of the concepts. So it is better to clarify, ask for clarification before assuming. Frequently for feedback, and be specific when you are speaking. Do not be verbose. We need to be specific, concrete, really to the point. Speak to the point. We know no need to go in detail. There is no need to be verbose about the things and try to cover many aspects in communication. So if it is we are specific what topic or what concept that we are asking, it would be very good for the language listeners. And choose your medium of communication carefully. If you are good at one language, it is better to choose that language and try to communicate carefully in that language. Then we have the emotional barriers. Emotional state may influence our capacity to make ourselves understood and hamper our understanding of others. Sometimes, what kind of state of being? It could be the kind of teaching, or it could be due to the biases or prejudices one have been taught, or if they are seeing in the surrounding those kinds of things. This might uh, act as emotional barrier. If a person is going through one kind of emotion and they do not want to mingle with, maybe due to the due to racism or negative things being taught to the children and how they have been growing, or if they are having some kind of biases and prejudices around themselves, or sometimes it may be that the person is having too much of confusion, as the picture suggests. You can see what the person is speaking is kind of a crumpled net, or there's lot of strings that have been broken or intermingled as the person when the person listens it. So this could act as a barrier. uh, it could be because of excessive fear of anger, or fear of harming ourselves, or frustration, ability to put across, maybe frustration due to the inability to put across the ideas and thoughts, maybe to bringing uh, in the concepts and ideas be understood, or could be racism, blacks and whites. I mean, in international scenarios, international market, you will see that there is a lot of racism, prejudice that occurs, or it could be the status difference, like princess and the pauper. A person who is rich or coming from the upper strata of the society, and a person who comes from a lower society maybe will not have the chance or the ability to speak up their mind. It could be because of the insecurity that if they speak up their mind, they would be harmed or something. And due to anger, also anger issues, if a person is having emotional insecurity or emotional instability, then they could arise some kind of emotional barrier. Stress and depression due to a lot of work pressure, or maybe pressure of finance, or there could be different types. Some type of calamity that has happened recently, or the loss of a dear one could be one of the reasons of depression. Another is the extreme shyness. If a person is coming from a society wherein the children or the offsprings are extremely shy, they are not exposed to the people around, and also this could be one of the reasons why the barrier might occur. They may not express their feelings openly. Sometimes due to shyness there could be hesitation, or there could be hesitation because of lack of words or lack of vocabulary, and sometimes lack of exposure. Then because they are not having exposure, they do not know how to speak, what to talk, what not to talk, what to do and what not to do. There could be some kind of hesitation, and there could be also hesitation due to the prejudice also, that if I if as a black person, if I tell something, will they accept, or will they harm me? And due to this all these situations, if a person is experiencing this kind of treatment from other people, slowly their self-esteem will go down. Usually the person who, if they are doing something good, and their work is being praised or given, rewards are given to them, then their self-esteem will increase. They will have a good self-esteem, higher self-esteem. But if they are having been treated in this manner because of shyness, because of depression, or because of anger, insecurity, as I told you, excessive fear and all, their self-esteem also will be very low. So, for this, we need to have motivation and also commitment to change. That person who is very shy should come out of the comfort zone, or of their like thought process, and then should be motivated and should be willing to change. And peer and mentor support can be taken. If they mingle well with their peer group, and that shyness will gradually go, and they can be given the chance to speak up in different situations, so that they express their emotions and thoughts to people. Then recognition also should be given to emotions, like when certain things happen, the emotion, this particular emotion happens. So if the reason is known, the people around can avoid certain situations, and according to their nature type, people can behave with them. Okay. Then comes the gender barrier. Women and men listen differently and for different purposes. We are made different. We have to come to this understanding. Humans beings are made different. Females and males are made in a different manner. In some aspects, men are very strong in their bodily aspects, but in some aspects of willingness, willpower, and all, women are very strong. So no two genders are same. We listen differently for different purposes. Men understand for the content, what is there, the core or the pulp of that matter, and women search for the underlying messages and emotions in the speech. We are made like that. It is natural. So there are some barriers that will occur during this way, because of the relationships, respect that we give to people, and at the workplace, the authority and education are common ways where men and women are pitted against each other. Nowadays, we are working shoulder to shoulder with the fair gender. So it is. It is inevitable that some kind of barriers also arise. As the picture suggests, because men and women have different ways of thinking and communication. So fear and shyness could be one of them. That if I speak, what would they think? Fear and shyness actually uh, is accompanied by the kind of upbringing that they have, the kind of environment that they have grown up. Culture also plays a significant. Religion, of course, plays a very important role in how we are exposed to the outer world. Again, upbringing and culture, all these things are a part and parcel of how the genders have been designated, or what kind of roles that one's segment is awarded, and the other kind of role that the segment has been awarded. And there could be a lot of misunderstandings that could also arise due to the gender barrier. So how to overcome it? Have a wider range of friend circles. Like if people mingle with both the sexes, then it would be good to get over that kind of shyness, how to overcome that shyness. Then having patience and understanding brought by time and attention. This could be, this could happen gradually. It cannot happen overnight. So as they get over that shyness and all, it needs some kind of patience and understanding to avoid misunderstandings. Okay. Then perceptual barrier, the difference of perception and opinions of people gives rise to obstacles in effective communication. Sometimes it is the perception, the way we all see the world differently. We all have our own preferences, values, attitudes. Again, this depends upon the kind of culture and tradition, upbringing that have origins in life, and experiences that act as filters on our experiences of people, events, and also information. To me, it looks like six, and to the other person, it might look like nine. Both are correct in our perception of things, but how I perceive it sometimes may act as a barrier in communication. So this difference in understanding of the things, as I say, if I'm trying to tell something, the other person is trying to understand that. In the difference in perception of reality to assumptions, then difference in values, morals, difference in attitudes and opinions of different things, like the concept development, how it has been brought up, that person is brought up, and how they have been inculcated with sorts of information. It happens from the cradle or the lap of the mother, until the person exposes himself to various cultures, various people of different countries. Then this might acts as start listening to others. This, if you want to overcome the perceptual barrier, we have to stop just assuming, and we have to start listening to others. Then only things can get clarified. Clarify if there is any doubt. If you are having any doubt with what the other people are doing and how they are perceiving the world around them, then it is better to talk to them and come to know and clarify your doubts. Stay calm and also be positive. Do not be hesitant, or do not try to stop the other person's conversation and jump into conclusions. You need to be calm and you need to be positive so that you come to the perceptual aspects. Then we have the physical barrier. They relate to the disturbance in immediate situation which can interfere in the course of an effective communication. Some are easy to alter, whereas some may prove to be tough obstacles in the process of effective communication. These are they put between process. Any physical barrier put between communication process is called a physical barrier. They could be distractions from the sound, cigarette smoke, or overheated room, a phone ringing. If the phone is continuously ringing, there could be physical barrier. Distance. If I am speaking to the people around me who are present over here, it is okay. But if the distance is more, and if there are defects in media also, could be one of the reasons. Distraction in the environment, ignorance of the medium through which we are talking, or maybe the technology that we are using to speak, or maybe the mic, or maybe the cables that are used to or maybe the speakers that are used, or could be the physical disability of the person that we talked about, that they are not able to listen to you. So we need to be updated with the latest technology, choosing suitable in mind to have the communication, and try to remove the immediate obstacles which can be done. Or if they are very difficult, as we discussed just now, that they are very difficult sometimes to, so we need to work before we communicate again with the people. Making signs easier to read, and then person must be self motivated to do that. Okay. um, Attitudinal barriers, again, a preoccupation with work related or personal problems can make it difficult to focus completely on what the speaker is saying. A person's state of mind plays a significant role in avoiding or getting over the barriers. If a person is calm or poised, then the house atmosphere is very good. The person is happy. Things are going well at home. Then the work related problems can be solved easily. But if the person is preoccupied with personal problems, and if the same person has to solve the problems at workplace, that person becomes irritated and is not completely in his or her senses, so that the attitudinal barriers occur. Because of egocentrism, that is one more knowledgeable than the other, could be one of the reasons as to why should I listen to the other people. I myself am very um, knowledgeable and educated person. If I have that kind of an attitude, I might not be keeping my mind open to listening to others. Close minded attitude, that I call. Because this could be again because of cultures, and because of traditions, or because of the kind of upbringing that they have, or these kinds of attitudes develop in people. So we need to overcome this. We need to be very positive. Positivity helps in many ways, and broadening our horizons um, to listen to people, to mingling with them, and having this attitude that each person is different. You should not, make some standard human being. And if you think that a person, anybody, one who wants to become your friend, should fit in that kind of that kind of personality, then only you will make them your friend. If you do that, you might squeeze up yourself. You might have a lot of attitudes in accepting people's differences. That you can do by broadening your horizons. Come out of the clutches of narrow mindedness. If you want to get over this barrier, you come out of the narrow mindedness. Think from others' perspective. You need to be empathetic. You need to be sympathetic towards people so that you understand how other people see and perceive things. You need to put yourself in the shoes of other person and think over. Concentrate fully. When you listen, you will concentrate, and also have this attitude of respecting other people's sentiments. If you are told and the same thing, how would you feel yourself? That kind of an attitude if you have, then this barrier may not occur in yourself. And wrong assumptions is another one. To assume, it is wrong to assume that the sole responsibility in communication is of the speaker and the listeners have no role to play. This is a myth that people have been following all over the years, and that's how communication has gone astray. There is equal responsibility of the listener. They need to maintain eye contact, they need to be relaxed, and they should be poised and keep their minds open. It is the responsibility of the listener to give respect and also listen to the person speaking. Other wrong assumption is that listening is a passive activity. No, it is an active activity. You need to put your soul and put your efforts to listen. When you are hearing, there is no need. I mean, in that state, you are not concentrating on what is being told. But when you are in the listening activity, you have to pay attention to what is being said. You should be focused, and you should be in a position to speak up what you have learned. Then only what you have listened, then only it is possible for you to uh, get over that wrong assumption. It could be because of the lack of interest towards what is being said, or maybe the concept that you are not interested, or sometimes because of misunderstandings it can be created that you have wrong assumptions about somebody, or it could be preconceived notions that you have developed over a period of time, or standardizing people, or not being motivated towards what is said. So, how to overcome this wrong assumption barrier is to listen attentively. A lot of problems can be solved if you become a good listener. Then you have to speak clearly also, so that people understand. Do not make your conversation confusing, or you should not leave it incomplete. Correct information, concrete, really to the point. Do not speak unnecessary things and make people confused about. And take responsibility of forwarding the information. Hear and be heard. Your 75% of your communication should be listening, and 25% of your communication should be speaking. So that gets balanced. If you yourself keep on talking about the knowledge that you have, you will not get anything. You will be just sharing your information, and you are not getting benefited if you are speaking all the time. If you listen, you may learn a lot of things, a lot of uh, people's opinions, attitudes, and culture, nature. All these things you will learn if you listen to people. And this could be the other barrier could be lack of training. One of the biggest barriers in listening is people are not born as good listeners, that it should be acquired through practice, but people are not willing to do that. If they are willing, if they can practice it. Now there are many types of programs that are being carried out to become good listeners. We have so many videos, audios, that exercises that we can do and become good listeners. Okay. Then it should be acquired through practice. That's why it is called as listening skill. It is not natural. We need to focus on that. We need to pay attention to what is being said. Then only listening can happen. It This is because of lack of training. People think that without taking that as in practice, we can become good listeners. No, it is not possible. So we should acquire it through practice. And bad listening habits, of course, it's self-explanatory. The listeners have to be genuine. Like the picture suggests, the man is sitting with his busy with his phone and the lady is speaking. So conversation is not going on, communication is not going on. And this could be because of faking attention, and that as if though you are listening to the speaker, but actually in the real sense of the word you are not speaking. You are not paying attention to what is being said. Trying to look like a listener, but in the real sense listening is not at all happening. Because of this we miss out on main important points, and then the important information is lost, and when the speaker is asked to speak, they do not have any content, any concrete material that they have to speak about. And sometimes they could bring in emotions accompanied by this bad listening habit that could again prove as detrimental. So the best thing is to become a good listener, concentrate on what is being told, focus on the speaker's body language, things that are being said, and certain things not spoken at all. I mean, understanding between the lines. Need to practice effective listening skills, work on listening comprehension. Comprehension is understanding. So there are various ways as to listening to a part of a video, and then coming up with understanding that and trying to understand in between the lines, that will help you more in understanding. And again, then the last one is fear is a huge barrier to communication. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, says Franklin D. Roosevelt. So, fear could be about the hostile audience. Fear of speaking could be because of the concepts. Maybe if the people come to know about our thought process, they might not like it, and they might regard us as some not so good person. So that fear of our losing our good reputation could be one of the reasons why people do not speak. Or the presence of any person, or presence of any object, or presence of any harmful um, animal or something, that also could be one of the reasons for the fear of speaking, or fear as a barrier in communication. Could be inferiority complex, that I might make a mistake while I speak. So people avoid speaking, being afraid of the consequences. Like if I speak up my mind, and if people come to know what is in my mind, then they might I might have to bear very bad consequences and things like that. Keep calm and take deep breaths if you are afraid, or drink some water, and try to make your mind and say that I am the best. You are If you are presenting something, think that you are the best in this hall, and I can do it well. If you have this in mind, then you will be able to do it in a very nice manner. Then we have the technological barriers to listening. It's rather ironic, but the technology that is supposed to be keeping us connected is preventing us from listening effectively. In their constant scrambles for our attention, our devices are preventing us from focusing our attention on our dialogue, and our attention is limited. Take a look at the selective attention test examples for more. Our phone distracts us, but its very presence and reduces our ability to focus. Then our email alerts and pops on our desktops and other apps, all are designed to ping us with every incoming message. The key here is to recognize that we can control the technology more than we first imagined. It just takes a little willpower and little organization. Be willing to silence your phone and put it away when you are in conversation. See that in cultural values, then explore your app setting to reduce the notification. And then a physiological barrier to listening are not about your company or your culture. They are all about you thinking while listening. This could be thinking about the irrelevant things about dinner, as I told you, simply thinking about an appropriate response. Either way, it's not listening. And judging before listening could be also one of them. They are wrong, I don't care, this is not important. All judgment that switch off are listening. This is also stress, sometimes more subtle than that. You want to listen but you are too stressed, you are under time pressure, it's a big deal. Try this 5-day listening plan based on the Chinese character for listening. It will help you learn to listening holistically using all your senses. Relationship barriers also is one of them. With relationship barriers to listening, it's the dynamic between yourself and the other person that is in the problem. Because of lack of trust could be the reason why people do not want to listen to each other. Unconscious biases, like the other person has ill-treated me in the earlier situation, so why should I listen to that person in this situation? Or it could be because of not having the same common language, lot of common lack of common goals. If people are having usually there is negative attitude and the positive attitude, then it could be because of that. Or the personal relationship is not going good, then this also might happen. So what we need to do is be willing to suspend your agenda at least while you're listening. Explore your unconscious biases, and then all these actions take a commitment to building the relationship and the foundation for connecting, communicating, and also collaborating with each other. It may take some time, but it's still the fastest and the most effective way to make sustainable progress. Okay, so by going through all these kinds of barriers, recognizing the barriers in our communication is very important, so that we we know where the barrier is happening, and recognizing that and trying to get over that is very important. If you just recognize and just keep quiet about that is negligence. And also inability to recognize where the barrier is happening is also our lack of concentration or carelessness about the communication that is happening between people. So, as we all know that we cannot live without communication. It is the basic thing that happens to a human being. It comes to us naturally as breathing comes to us, but there are certain rules and regulations that we must follow to speak effectively, to listen effectively, to communicate our feelings, our ideas, and emotions with other people. It is mandatory when we want to continue our relationships, progress in our life, progress in our businesses, and in our personal life maintenance. Then it is essential that we recognize the barriers and try to get over them. With this, we come to an end of the session. With me, Wahida, signing off.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.